Okay, so this is the review for the second week of our defense class. The first week we spent time talking about opening leads, and this week we spent time talking about actual play, third hand high, second hand low, when to do each of those. Next week we're going to talk about, or this week coming up, we're going to be talking about signaling, defensive signals, which is a very important part of the communication process in defense. And then the last week, we're going to be kind of putting things together and refining some of the elements we've learned in earlier weeks of the class. So, for the first thing today, let's take a look just briefly at a review of opening leads that we covered last week. This is not the handout you got, this is a little bit different. So when we're talking about opening leads, what we're going to be doing is to decide what we're going to lead, we consider the bidding plus the contract. What has been bid by both the opponents and by our partner? What contract are we? What do we have in our hand when we decide to make the opening lead? We talked about goals of opening lead. In no trump, in general, we're looking for length. We're looking to find a long suit that we can set up between ourselves and our partner in order to establish extra tricks. In a suit contract, usually we're looking for strength, the high cards between our cards and our partner's side, and possible shortness to be able to get in before the opponents can draw our trump in. The most critical rule probably for both, for no trump and for suits, is if your partner has bid, lead that suit. If your partner bid during the auction phase, lead your partner's suit, lead what they bid. In general, we lead high, low from a doubleton. Otherwise, if they're suit, otherwise we'll lead the top of a sequence, or we'll lead the lowest card or generally the fourth card down in his or her suit. If your partner hasn't bid, then we have to lead something else. And so in general, we avoid leading suits that the opponents have bid because they've already said those are their suits. And so generally we don't lead that. If we do need to lead a suit that the opponents have bid, we will choose to lead one that the dummy has bid rather than that the declarer has bid. Because if we are leading a suit that the dummy has bid, we're at least leading through the dummy. And both our partner and the declarer who didn't bid that suit, and so who theoretically is weaker in that suit, will play after the dummy has played. So lead through strength on the board, lead to weakness in declarer's hand. Another idea is to lead a singleton against a suit contract. But you need to think about this one and not just jump right to it, because in order for that to work, your partner has to be able to take a trick, lead the suit back to you, and you need to have some trump in order to be able to trump whatever they have. So a singleton is frequently a good lead. A doubleton is much less frequently a good lead, because for a doubleton to work, your partner's got to lead, win the suit twice, and be able to lead back to you and for you to have trumps. And all of this needs to happen before declarer can come in and draw your trump. You know, my experience with leading a doubleton is it rarely works for anything. And what it does is it sets up a suit by declarer. And after you lead, you know, a couple of them are played, they pull trumps, and now they've got the suit that you've set up for them. So I'm not a fan of leading from doubletons. Leading a singleton can be good. If we have a sequence, we lead the top of a face card sequence. So like ace, king, queen, we lead the ace, king, queen, jack, we lead the king, queen, jack, 10, we lead the queen. We lead the top of a 3-card sequence. In no trump, if we lead a face card, we are promising 3 cards in the suit. Maybe not 3 cards in the sequence, but 3 cards in the suit.
Sally, in that where you just said they're leading 3 cards in a suit, do you consider the 10
Yes,
also an honor?
the 10 is an honor. The 10 is an honor. So against a no
Thank you.
trump contract, if you lead an honor, you're promising the one below it, and you're promising 3 honors. Against a suit contract, you're just promising the one below it. That's all you're promising on a suit contract. That kind of makes sense because remember, our goal in a no trump contract is to find a good, strong suit that belongs to us. The goal in a suit contract is to find the strength between us and our partner. So once we're deciding which suit to lead, if we do have a good suit and we don't have any other thing to lead, like our partner suit or a singleton, then we'll lead our own good suit. And this applies more in no trump than in a suit contract because we don't have much chance of developing our own suit in a suit contract. But if we're choosing our suit and we don't have touching honors in it, we lead 4th down from our longest suit. If we have 2 equal length suits, we do the strongest. But if we have unequal length suits, like a 6-card club suit and a 5-card diamond suit, we choose the longer of the 2 suits, even if the shorter one is stronger. So always go with length rather than strength. The reason we lead 4th down, we talked about, is this rule of 11. That's particularly useful in a no trump contract. But whatever partner leads, you subtract that from 11, and that tells you the number of cards that are out that are higher than the card your partner led. Because you can see your hand and dummy's hand, it tells you how many higher cards are out in declarer's hand. And that gives you some valuable information. Sometimes it lets you know whether you should play a high card or whether you can play low on the hand. Sometimes it tells you there's no point in leading the suit back because declarer has too many high cards in their hand to make it very much worth your while to lead that back. So it gives you a lot of good pieces of information. As we've mentioned before, in defense, you are at a disadvantage. Declarer can see the cards that they are responsible for playing. He can see his hand and dummy's hand. So he's got control over the cards he needs to have control over. But when you're playing on defense, you can see your cards and the dummies, but you can't see your partner's cards. So any information you can give your partner is to help you to communicate about what's going on between your 2 hands is really good. That's why we use the rule of 11 when we can. That gives us some information. That's why we lead the top of touching honors when we can. That gives partners some information. So a lot of what we do on defense is trying to give partner little nuggets of information. We do even more of that with the signaling, which we're going to cover in the next lesson. Against a suit contract, we can lead a standalone ace from a long suit. Otherwise, we don't underlead aces or kings. We don't like to do that. And we never underlead an ace against a suit contract because the chances of it just developing the opponent's king and or getting trumped is too high. So never underlead an ace against a suit contract. And if all you have is a suit headed by an ace or a king, it's kind of dangerous to lead that suit. So usually we try to find something else. Then the last one of the big things we talked about is a lot of people get into the habit of leading trump. They say, well, that's a safe lead because the opponents are always going to lead trump. And while that's true, that opponent does need to lead trump, that is a very passive lead for you. And usually it's better for you to lead something else, something that can develop something in your hand rather than just passively letting the opponents take over as soon as they can, whatever their plan needs to be. But you may want to lead trump if other leads seem unsafe, like if all you have is suits headed by the ace or the king alone. And so you don't know what you're creating for the opponents if you underlead those. Or if it seems like the opponent is going to be needing to trump in dummy, then you may want to draw trump off the board before you give them a chance to do it. But it's hard to see those situations. They most frequently come up when the opponents have sacrificed. And you've and your partner have been bidding a suit. Maybe you got to 4 hearts or 4 spades, and that seems pretty good. And your opponents come in with a 5 club or a 5 diamond bid because they've got a good long suit. Well, probably they're short in your suit and are going to want to be trumping there. Then it might be a good time to lead trump, to take away the trump that are on the board that they might get to use and develop extra tricks of their own. But other than that, don't lead trump. Lead it occasionally when it seems right to do it, but don't just have that be your fallback position, that I don't know what else to do, so I'm going to lead trump. Usually there's a better thing to do. And then the last thing we talked about last week was this idea of Boston, the bottom of something or the top of nothing. If you have nothing really to say to your partner about your lead, you were just leading a suit because you don't have anything else to lead, he didn't bid, you don't really have a suit, then usually we lead our weakest suit. Okay, so, and we use Boston, bottom of something, top of nothing. If we have something in the suit, a face card or a couple of face cards, we'll lead low in the suit. That kind of encourages partner. That says, partner, I like this suit. But if we do not have anything in the suit and we have nothing else to lead, we are just leading a suit that's a nothing suit. We lead the top of that suit. So that usually means if you lead a 9, an 8, a 7, sometimes even a 6, that is the top of nothing. So those interim level cards are tops of nothing. That means to your partner, don't lead these back. This is
So
probably
what
a
would
nothing
you
suit.
consider? Would you say you had 10, 9, 8, top of something? Would you lead the 10?
No, the 10, 9, 8 wouldn't be top of something.
It would
If
be,
you had like 5 or 6 cards in the suit,
sorry, would it be top of nothing if you had
that's
a
top
10?
of nothing. Yeah. If you
With a
have
10.
something in the suit like a face card,
Then you would lead bottom
you
of
lead the
something.
bottom, you lead a
Yeah.
low card. If you have touching honors, you lead the honor. But
Yeah.
if you have like ace, queen, 10, that's something. That's good.
Yeah.
But you
So
can't
you lead
lead one of
bottom.
those, so you would lead a low card in that suit.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So then let's move on then in our books. We're going to be looking at our books now to talk about third hand high and second hand low. You guys learned about third hand high and second hand low when you first started taking bridge, right? I mean, that's probably one of the first things you learned as for play of the hand. Third hand high, second hand low, and those are good rules. Their rules are there for a reason, and so we usually follow them. Third hand high is usually a good rule. Second hand low is more often a good rule. It's even more of a good rule, but third hand high is a good rule. Let's think of this for a minute. When you're playing third hand, who has led to the suit?
Your partner.
Yeah, partner is led because you are now the third person to play. So partner is leading to the suit. The next person plays, now your third hand. And now we are not talking about opening leads. Now we are talking about any time opening leads and other times during play of the hand, not just opening leads. So when partner is led to a trick, you are the third hand. You are in the position to win that trick for your side if it can be won. So that's why the rule third hand high applies. That's why the rule second hand low applies, because you're not the last person to play for the trick. But third hand high, this rule usually applies. So look at page 94 in your textbooks. On page 94, you can see when partner, first of all, we're talking about when partner leads a low card. Your partner has led the 2 of this suit. You can see the 7, 6, 5 in dummy. You have the ace, 4, 3. Naturally, you play the ace. You play as high as you can to win. The second example there, now you have the king, 4, 3. You're going to play the highest card, the king, to win. You don't know what partner led from, but probably he has led from something, right? Because he led a low card. So he probably has something in the suit. So even though your king may fall to the ace, you might rather wait till the ace is played to play your king. Either your partner has the ace or declarer has the ace. If your partner has the ace, great, your king is a winner. If declarer has the ace and takes your king, all right, it was always going to take your king, and now you have promoted cards in your partner's hand. So in all of these situations, it's better to go up to play the highest card you can when you're on third hand high. So either we are winning the trick ourselves because we're the third person and that's the good trick, or we are promoting other cards in our hands or our partner's hands and giving declarer something they were entitled to have. So we play third hand high. So either way, that works out for us.
So,
But
Sally, is there a
Yes.
possibility that partner, if he leads the two, that he could have the ace?
Yeah.
it is possible, yes. Although
But you're not
it's
supposed, you're not
It's not
supposed to
supposed to
under,
underlead, though.
not
yeah.
in a
Not in a suit
contract. We might be
contract.
playing no trump here.
Yeah.
We're playing no trump. Okay.
We don't know. It doesn't say. It could be either one. But since we do have the rule against underleading aces in suit play, he should not have the ace if he led the two.
Right.
Right.
Okay. All right. So that's the general rule, third hand high, easy rule, except we always have exceptions in bridge. Except we don't always play as high as we can play. We play just as high as we need to play. So look on over on page 98. This is when we play third hand not quite so high.
Mm-hmm.
And when we play not quite so high is if we have touching honors. So look at the example on page 98, the middle of the page. Partners led the 4, and we have the queen, jack, 2. Playing high, we would play the queen. But what we actually do is we play the jack. We play the lower of touching honors. The reason we do this is because it helps partner place the missing honors. Look at the top of page 99 and you'll see a clearer picture of this. If partner leads small and you play the queen, you don't really, partner doesn't have good knowledge of what's there because the opponents are going to win with the ace. We still don't know where the jack is. You will play high with the queen. If declarer lets that ride, you'll still come back with a small. And now the jack is trapped in declarer's hand, which is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
In any case, you're going to lead back to your partner when you can lead back to your partner, and the jack will be trapped. If, like at the bottom of page 99, you played the jack instead of the queen, now declarer, to win the trick, is going to have to win with the ace. Partner now knows where the queen is. Do you see that at the bottom of page 98?
Yes.
Because if declarer had the queen, he would win with the queen
Yes.
because you played the jack. So this
Mhm.
helps partner identify where the missing cards are. If declarer doesn't have the queen, you must have the queen. Partner must have the queen. So the next time this suit is played, partner can lead low again and let you take your queen. He now knows that your queen is good. This is the most efficient way to play the suit, and you will get the most tricks that you can in this suit. You should only lead the ace in this, lose the ace of this suit if everybody plays correctly and everybody reads the suit correctly. A big part of playing defense is watching what's happening, thinking about that, what that means, and reading into, making decisions based on what must be true by what's happening. Okay, let's look at the full hand example on page 99. Okay, here we have a contract of 3 no trump, and look at West's hand, partner's hand. We're east, partner is west. Partner's going to be the one on lead. What is partner going to lead from that hand against 3 no trump?
The 4
Mhm.
4.
spades.
They're going to lead spades because that's their longest suit, assuming you haven't bid anything. That's their longest suit. They're going to lead the 4th down from their longest suit, so that would be the 4 of spades. The dummy comes down and you can see the 6-3 in dummy. You can use the rule of 11. You subtract 4 from 11. That tells you there are 7 cards out that are higher than the 4. One of those is in dummy, and you have 3 of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's 4. So that should mean that there are 3 cards higher than the 4 in declarer's hand, okay, to give you that information. What card should you play on this trick? You have the queen, jack, 10.
Well, does it matter? Because they're all
They're all equal. So does it
equal.
matter?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it does matter.
Why
So
does it matter?
you're sending a signal. If you play the queen, then your partner will not know what else you have.
Right. That's exactly right. We play the lower of touching honors. When we have touching cards, we play the lower of the cards.
The jack.
No,
Or the 10.
the 10. The 10, they're all the same. So we play the lowest of the touching ones we have. And then look what happens. What does declarer play?
The ace.
The ace.
The ace.
And then the
Yes.
rest of your cards are good.
That's right. Now, your partner should deduce from this, when declarer plays the ace, that you have both the queen and the jack. Because if declarer could have won with the queen or the jack, he would have. He wouldn't play his ace because the partner still has the king. Okay, so
Mhm.
this gives your partner valuable information when you play the lower of touching honors. Now you need to keep in mind that when we are leading, we lead the higher of touching honors. But when we are playing to a trick, we play the lower of touching honors. And we do that because it helps our partner place the missing cards by what the opponent had to play to win the trick. And so that's a perfect example here. Now, when it comes back, when that suit is now led again, which is going to be led again, because partner is going to want to set up this, he knows you have 2 winning tricks. And so he's going to lead a small one back to you when he gets to lead again. And you're going to win with the jack or the queen and lead another one back to him, which he now overtakes with his king, and the rest of his tricks are good. If you don't give him that piece of information, okay, if you don't play the 10, you play the queen, then he's going to take the king as soon as he can, hoping that the rest of the cards that are in declarer's hand are going to fall, that the jack, which is missing as far as he knows, is going to fall. And it's in your hand. And so now the suit is blocked because you didn't play it correctly when you could. So it's real critical that you play that 10, the lower of your touching honors when you can, to help figure out everything. Okay. All right. So that's one time we don't play the highest card. We play the highest of touching honors. It's kind of the same as playing the highest card because they are equal value, but we need to be sure to play the lowest of the high cards to help partner get an idea about where things are. Another time we don't do third hand high, or we don't do it quite as high as we could, is when we can see what's in dummy and we want to keep things finessed in dummy. We're finessing against dummy. Declare and look at the top of page 101. Top of page 101. Here, our partner has led the 3, and we can see that the queen is in dummy. Well, we have the king jack. Our third hand high rule would tell us to play the king. But the third hand high rule really is play high, but only as high as necessary. So can you see that the king and the jack have equal value when you can see where the queen is?
Yes.
So in this case, we just want to play the jack. That's just as good. That's going to win the trick, and it keeps the queen trapped over there. Because you still have the king behind the queen.
Can you reiterate what finessing against the dummy means? Is it trapping?
Yeah, it's trapping. Let's say that Declarer wanted to make his queen good. He would lead a little card towards the queen, hoping that West had the ace or the king, and that your queen would be good. So this is the same thing, just moved around 1 seat, that you are keeping the queen trapped. You are finessing against the queen. You are not letting the queen win because you have the cards on either side of it. It's a finesse that your partner has actually taken against the queen. He just may not have known he was taking it, or he may have seen dummy. This may be leading during the hand, and he sees the queen on the board, and he's thinking, I wonder where the king jack is. Maybe my partner has it. And if so, you would play the jack on that, not the king. Even if you didn't know the reason for this, doesn't this make sense?
Anyway.
I mean, even without wouldn't you just think, oh, I can see the queen, so I don't need to play the king
Yes.
because I can
Yes.
see the queen, so I just play the jack. So it's common sense, but that's what
Uh-huh.
you're doing is your partner is finessing against the queen and you're taking the jack. It's a little bit harder to see though, even when you have more cards missing. So look down at the very bottom there where you have the king and the 10. Right?
Mhm.
Now, who has the ace? That's the question. And who has the jack? Because you can see the queen, you've got the king 10. The ace and the jack are both missing, right? Your partner leading a low card has to have something. So they have to have either the ace or the jack or both the ace and the jack. Does this make sense? We're looking at the last example there on page 101.
So if your partner puts out the 5
Mhm.
and they put the 3 on it, you would take it with the 10,
Yeah,
correct?
that's what I'm trying to lead up to is yes,
Yeah.
but the reason you do that is because partner has led from something,
Yeah,
okay? You can see the queen, the king, and the 10. The queen and dummy, you have the king and 10. The ace and jack are the something that partner led from. He either has the ace and the jack, the ace only, or the jack only. Okay. In any of those cases, playing the 10 makes the most sense. The
except if your
slight
partner says,
possibility,
"Why would you take that?"
I'm sorry, Debbie, what?
I said, except if your partner says, they put the queen on it, why didn't you take it with the king?
Well, yes. Now, if they put the queen on it, you are going to take
Yeah,
it
yeah,
with the king. But assuming they play low,
yeah.
assuming they play low.
Don't waste your
Second
king.
hand low, second
Yeah.
hand low, which is what they should play here. Not knowing anything else about what's being played so far, but just taking this at face value. They have led low. You can see the queen, king, and 10. The ace and jack are missing. If Declare has the ace, Declare is going to have to play the ace to win the trick if you play the
Yeah.
10. Okay. If
And then you
Declare
can-
has the jack, yes, the jack is going to win.
Yeah.
But then the queen is trapped.
Yeah.
So either way you look at it, playing the 10 makes the most sense here. Now this is harder to see than when you have the king jack on either side of the queen. But when you are playing third hand high, play only as high as necessary to either win the trick or to develop cards for you and your partner. Okay, and so in this case, we would play the 10. All of these cases, we're keeping the card that we can see that's the winner, the queen, trapped in dummy, so that they can't use that to be a winning trick.
And then if you won that trick with the 10,
Mhm.
then you would play the 4 back to them.
Well, that's a little bit harder to decide, because if you win with the 10, your partner has the ace.
You still don't know where the, well, he probably has the ace and the jack, right?
Your partner had to have the ace or the jack. Why would he
Yeah.
have the 5 otherwise?
Yeah.
Unless your partner is asleep at the wheel, okay? He
Mhm.
had something when he led the 5. So it's got to have, if the declarer wins with the jack, your partner has the ace.
Yeah.
So would you lead a little one back then?
And this is all on no trump.
It's in whatever it is. It's in no trump, or it's after the trump are gone.
Wouldn't you lead a low back and let him win it with the ace, and then you'll still have your king to take the queen?
Yes, but notice what's happened here. You had 3 cards. Dummy has 3 cards. One of them's already been played. So now the queen is part of a doubleton. You have the king, and you know your partner has the ace.
Mhm.
Your partner also led theoretically from something more than 3.
Mhm.
So you need to cash your king and leave a small one back to the ace, which when your partner plays the ace, the queen will fall.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let's scoot over to page 104, because in those situations we were talking about when partner has led a low card. When partner has led a low card, they're leading from something. You generally will play the highest card you can, unless you have touching honors, in which case you will play the lower, or unless you have split honors and you can see an honor on the board, then generally you play the lower of those honors to keep the honor trapped on the board. So let's talk about if your partner leads a high card. When your partner leads a high card, you need to pay particular attention to what's on the board and what is played. And let's look at the first example there on page 104. Partner has led the queen of something. So what do we immediately know?
He has the jack.
He has the jack
Mhm.
and maybe the 10. Because he's leading top. If he leads an honor, he's got the honor below it. So he's got the jack. You can see the king sitting in dummy. So are you going to go up with your ace in that case?
No.
No. The queen is going to win if they don't play the king.
Yeah.
So you just let the queen ride.
Yeah.
And what is partner going to know now?
He'll know, partner will know you have the ace.
Yes, partner now knows where the ace is. And so partner's queen will win. And so he'll lead another card, the jack. And partner either has to play the king, which gets taken by the ace, or he plays low, in which case you play low again. So you don't always win on third hand. It depends, on what's in dummy and what you can see is happening. So in this case, third hand would not play high. Third hand would play low. Another thing you want to do is keep that king trapped in dummy. You'll hear the phrase a lot, aces are made for taking kings. If you just take an ace, it promotes a king. You're giving away a king. So you really want to use your ace to take that king if you can. That makes it the most valuable that it can be. It's always worth one trick. It's worth even more if it takes away the king at the same time. So when you can see a king on the board and the ace behind it, you will rarely play your ace because you want to keep the king trapped. You might even want to give away a trick to keep the king trapped over there and not just let them play their king. Okay, one other thing we need to think about is unblocking. So let's move over to page 109 and we'll talk about this. And this is kind of related to what we just talked about, which is where you want to keep things trapped. But it's a little bit different. Here you want to think about where the tricks are, who's going to win them, and how can they be won. So let's look at the first example there on page 109. Your partner has led the king of this suit. That promises at least the queen. And in this case, they've told us this is a no trump contract. So it also promises the jack or at least the 10. So your partner has a solid long suit here. They've got 3 honors and they have led the king, so they have the queen. You have the ace and you have another small one. So when partner leads the king, what should you play?
The ace.
Why?
The 3. No,
Yeah.
the ace. I'm sorry, the ace.
Yes, to feed back the low
Then you've
card.
got the 3 to go to the other side.
Right. If you play the 3 and let your partner's going to win with the king, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So if you play the 3, your ace is still good. But you've
can't get back
blocked
up.
the suit.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Now you can take your ace, but there's no other way to get back to his suit unless there's another way to get there through his hand. And that's a valuable piece of real estate that you've given up. You know your partner has a long suit that is set up a bull because he has either the queen jack, which is definitely being able to set up, or he has at least the queen 10, which is probably able to set up. So you really have to play your ace on that trick. That is when you have 2 of them. Because you can't go back otherwise. You are blocking the suit if you don't do that. You need to unblock. There's a lot of times, and we'll talk about this in the 4th week's class, there are a lot of times we unblock on defense. Not just this situation, but a lot of times when, especially on no trump, when partners trying to set up a long suit, we have to get rid of our higher cards in a suit that would block that suit for him. But this is the kind of classic example when you just have 2 and you have the winning one, you go ahead and overtake with that one and lead the lower one back. Look down at the bottom of the page, another example of the same thing. Partner has led the queen. The ace is on the board. You have to overtake partner's queen with your king. Because you want to be able to lead back. Your king is not any good otherwise because your king would just fall under the ace.
No time right.
What if dummy goes up with the ace?
Then play the 8. There's no point in overtaking, you just play low.
Up you.
Well, if you want to unblock the suit, you'll throw the king
Yeah, play the king.
and save your 8 for if you get back in ever, you can lead the 8 back to partner's sequence. Now, you kind of need to decide where
That's
you are in the contract. If you just need one more trick,
The ace.
then you might not throw the king away. If you are in a no trump contract and you're trying to let your partner set up the long suit that they have, then you're going to play the king under the ace. And if you have any other entry to your hand, lead that lower one back when you get there. Otherwise, yes, you can cash your king later, but you've killed your partner's suit. Does this make sense to everybody? It's hard to do this.
Very hard.
I will grant you this. It's hard to do it. Okay,
So when I've seen other people playing that high card, I sometimes think that that's the only card they have in the suit versus them trying to unblock a suit. Is
well,
there a way you can
no,
determine
there's
which is
really
which?
no way. Partners are going to need to figure this out. That's what I said. There's a lot of figuring on defense, excuse me, on defense.
You play the
Partner's
king.
going to have to figure, was that likely that you were unblocking or likely that was the only card that you had?
Yeah.
And actually, it doesn't make too much difference because as long as you're playing a no trump contract, if you're playing a suit contract, then they might think that that's now you're trumping. That could be. But we don't usually have the situation in a trump contract. It's usually in a suit contract. It's usually a no trump contract that we run into this situation.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I would thoroughly recommend that everybody do the exercises that are at the end of this chapter because they are really pretty good about
That's what we should
what
do.
you should play when, and they also talk about how many other tricks you should be entitled to take based on what you play. And so if you want to get more, I would suggest that you do that. But let's move on now to second hand low. That's third hand high. Third hand high, we nearly always play high because we're the last ones to play to the trick. If it's going to be won by our side, we're going to be the ones to do it. But we only play as high as is necessary. So we play the lower of touching honors. If we can see that what's on the board is higher, then we can play the lower one and still win that. And we also may want to play a lower one if we want to trap what is in dummy that we can see by playing a lower of honors in order to either force out declarers winners or to promote our partners winners. And we need to remember that if partner has played a high card, that we need to not play high necessarily if we have other cards, because partner, if they're playing high, are going to be winning the trick. But sometimes we need to unblock, especially if we just have two. It's usually when you just have two in the suit that you need to unblock so we can move on. So that's third hand high. Second hand low. Second hand low, who is going to play last in this trick? If we're playing second, who plays last?
Your partner.
Partner. Opponents have led. We're second hand. Third hand is the next hand to play. Then our partner across from us will be the fourth hand to play. They're the last one to play. So generally, we want to play low. Second hand low. And that's nearly always, that's true more often than third hand high. Second hand low. If you look at page 136, it starts talking about why second hand low. Why second hand low is mainly because partner's the last to play. The partner's going to make decisions about winning the trick. But look at page 136. Declarer has led the two. We have the ace and two small. We can see the queen on the board. Well, we could play the ace and win the trick, right? If we wanted to.
Yeah.
Second hand, we could do that. But the rule tells us second hand low. And the reason we play second hand low is this is the most efficient way to play a suit. If we just go up with the ace, we don't know what partner has. We're elevating every other card that's in that suit is now being elevated. And declarer led that. So it's usually declarer who's wanting to elevate some tricks, okay? But it could also be our partner. If we just play the ace, we're not elevating anything that's good for us. We're taking all that away. And we're not giving our partner the chance to play the suit the most efficiently by being able to play last. So we do not play the ace. We play low. Look at the full example on the top of page 137. We play low. Dummy is going to play what card?
Queen.
The
Queen.
The queen, because declarers trying to do something with this suit. he's going to be leading towards the queen because he's trying to make something good in this suit. Third hand high. It's a rule for everybody. Declare usually plays third hand high. He's going to play the queen, and then the queen will win. Okay. You still have your ace. The queen is now won, but look what Declare has. Declare has a king in his hand that is now trapped behind your dummy. He was always entitled to one trick in that suit. He has a king queen, so he should get one trick in the suit. And you are keep preventing him by not playing the ace, preventing him from being able to play the king. So now, if your partner ever gets in the lead, your partner can lead the jack or the 10. And even if he plays the king, you still win with the 10, with the ace. He's just, that suit is dead to him now because you did not play the ace, because you played second hand low as you should. So it makes the suit play the most efficiently for you and your partner, for you to play low on second hand. Another thing it does is it makes the declarer guess where everything is. Don't help him out by showing him stuff. It's obvious if you have the ace not to play the ace, because that just raises everybody's. So hold on to that ace. But let's look at the top of page 139. Sometimes you've got more tricks available. Top of page 139, Declare has led a low card. You are second hand, and you have the king jack. So what should you play?
That's right.
Play the 3, second hand low. Declare has the ace, queen, 10. So Declare has to guess what to play. He doesn't know what is where. He's trying to develop something in his own hand. He doesn't know that he could play the 10 and it could win. So make him guess. Don't help him out. So you will play low in that situation. It's nearly always right to play low. Don't help the declare out by giving him a chance, let him have a chance to make a mistake. A mistake for him would be to play what card?
The ace.
Well, the ace or the queen, either one. He has to play the 10. He was hoping to see the king or the jack on that trick, and he didn't see it. So Declare is now disappointed when you play 3. That's good. We want disappointed declarers. Look at the next one down. Here you have the ace, 10, 8, 6, 2. King jack is on the board. What are you going to play?
2.
The 2. The 2. You're nearly always going to play second hand low. And an important thing to remember is, because you're nearly always going to play second hand low, play in tempo. Play in tempo. Don't start to think. Don't pull one card out and put it back. Another think. Play in tempo. Nearly always second hand low. And actually, if you don't play in tempo, you might as well play the ace, because you marked yourself for the ace if you hesitate. This is a hard thing to learn, but try to play particularly second hand low. There shouldn't be that much to think about on second hand low. Second hand pretty much plays low because your partner's the last person to play to a trick. So don't give the opponents any more information than you can help giving them. So play low, second hand, and play in tempo. It's nearly always the right thing to do, is play second hand low. So those are the first 2 things it does, is that it plays the suit the most efficiently. It makes opponent guess about which card they should play because they don't know. And then the last thing that it does is it gives them problems with setting up entries in dummy or in their hand, whichever way they're playing. It could be either way, but usually we're talking about dummy here that you can see. So look over on page 140. Bottom of page 140. Bottom of page 140. Declare has led the 2. You have the ace, 10, 3, and see the king, queen, to the 5th up there in dummy. What is Declare trying to do?
He wants to smoke out the ace,
He probably
so
wants to set up that suit, right? He's got 5 cards over there. He's probably trying to set up that suit. So we want to make it as hard as we can for him to set up the suit. If you play your ace right off the bat, you've set up the suit for him.
Yeah.
He now has to do no more work. He just has to find another way to lead that suit. But if you do not play the ace, if you play small, he's going to have to play the king or queen, and then he's going to have to come back and play again. And generally, you would duck the second time too, to keep him from being able to set up that suit. When he leads it the 3rd time, you're going to have to play it and take it. But now he's got to have another entry to the board somehow to get over there and set up the rest of his suit. So don't help him out by letting him set up a suit when you can see that's what they're trying to do. Don't play your ace. That's another reason that we play second hand low. It's nearly, second hand low is nearly always a good rule. But of course, it's not always a good rule. So on page 142, we start talking about when we don't play second hand low. But like I said, second hand low is more often the rule than third hand high. There's more reasons when we don't play third hand high than second hand low. When we don't play second hand low is if we have honors in the suit. If we have touching honors in a suit, then usually we do what's called splitting those honors. We will play one of the honors. And it gives you the example here on page 142 that if you have touching honors, if you play second hand low, then you're not promoting any of your honors. You know, if he wins the ace, yes, your honors are promoted. But if you play the jack, making him play the ace, now your other 2 are promoted. So usually we split our honors if we have something to promote. And you can see in this example, we do. Let's look at the next one down. Here we have the queen jack small. Well, if they play the 3, our second hand low rule would tell us to play the 6. But if we play the jack, we may be developing our queen. And if you look over at the top of page 143, you see the more full example of everything. Declare has led the 3. He has the ace and the king. Ace in one hand, the king in the other hand. You play the jack to force him to play the ace. If you don't play the jack, he can win with the 10. Your partner's kind of out of it on this one because he has too low. But you need to be able to force him up with his ace, and at the same time, you're promoting your queen 1 position because you're taking the ace away. Now, down at the bottom of the page here, it talks about if, depending on the number of cards they have, also depends on whether or not that you want to do this. The fewer cards that you and your partner have, generally you don't want to split honors. And if they have a 9-card suit, there's usually not much point in you splitting the honors. And you can usually tell this, and this usually applies in a trump suit. If the opponents have opened the suit, like a major suit, promising 5, and you can see 4 on the board, you know they have 9 between them. The middle of page 143, you should know that they have 9 between them. In that case, there's not much point in splitting your honors, and it could hurt if you split your honors. Because with 9, they're going to use the rules with 8 ever, with 9 never, when they're trying to set up this suit. And so the more cards they have, the less you want to split your honors. But if they just have 8 cards between them, as is the bottom of the page, if they opened that suit and you can see 3 on the board, they probably have 8. They might have 9 or more. You really don't know what declarer has in his hand. But assuming he has 5 and you can see 3, you've got 3. In this case, you would split the honors. You would play the jack. This one's a little bit harder to see. So if you don't remember that, you know, it doesn't hurt a lot, but it's usually better to split the honors. If you're not sure, split the honors. You should split the honors. Do you see what I mean by that? Split up your honors, play one of your honors.
Yes.
Okay. Another time is when there is nothing to be gained by splitting the honor, and that is on the top of page 144. There's no reason to split the honors when you can see the ace, king, 10 behind you. It's not going to help you a bit to play one or the other. All 3 of those cards are dead. So you might as well just play low and hope they go up with the ace or the king. Don't help them. Another time that you will not play second hand low is to set the contract. To set the contract. And there's a whole example here of this on page 144. But basically, if you know that you have the setting trick, then you don't play low. And you go ahead and play high and take the trick. And the example here is you are leading the jack of diamonds. The opponents play the king. Your partner plays the ace. And then plays the queen of diamonds. So you now have 2 diamond tricks. Okay. Does this make sense? Partner will lead back, but declarer is going to trump the 3rd one. So you have 2 diamond tricks in your pocket. You also in your hand have the ace of spades and the ace of clubs. Okay. Declarer is going to lead trump, which is hearts, and pull your hearts in. And then they're going to try to set up their spades by leading a small spade. When they lead that spade, you can now see the setting trick. The rule would tell us second hand low, that we would not play our ace. If we're just following the rule, second hand low. You see what we're talking about?
Yes.
You would just play low. But you can set the contract if you play your ace of spades and then play your ace of clubs. That gives you 4 tricks. That's setting the contract. So when you can see that situation, you don't just blindly follow the second hand low rule then. Then you go ahead and play to win, which is to make them set their contract. Okay, the final thing we need to talk about is over on page 147. And this is the idea of covering an honor with an honor. This rule applies even in 3rd hand, but it's more often a question in 2nd hand, covering an honor with an honor. And the covering an honor with an honor supersedes our second hand low rule. So if we can cover an honor with an honor, generally we do cover the honor with the honor. And when we do this, it makes them use 2 honors to take your 1 honor. That's why we generally want to do this. So look at page 147. Dummy has led the queen. You have the king, jack, 10. So you want to cover the queen with that king. Make them play the ace if they're going to win the trick. You've used their queen and their ace to take your king and promote, in the meantime, your jack and your 10. Even if the jack and the 10 weren't there, you would still consider playing the king to cover an honor with an honor, but it's really the most useful when you are promoting something of your own by playing the honor on the honor. It's either promoting you or your partner. It's promoting for somebody and making them use 2 tricks to take your 1 trick. So that's why we nearly always cover an honor with an honor. The only times not to cover an honor with an honor are covered over on page 151. And it's top of page 151. In general, if there is nothing to promote, then there's really no reason for you to cover the honor with the honor. If there's nothing in your hand or your partner's hand. In this example, they're playing from the Queen, Jack, 10, 9. Well, there's nothing to promote there. Your partner, you don't have the Jack, 10, 9. Your partner doesn't have the Jack, 10, 9. You've got just the king. So you might as well not cover in that situation. There is nothing to promote. When you will cover is the last time they lead an honor. So really, in this case, they lead the Queen, Jack, 10, and then finally you would play the king. Although, in this case, actually, they have to play the ace after the 2. They've played the honors twice. So if you hold up, your king will stay good. Okay, questions on any of this? We still have our general rules, second hand low, third hand high, but we've refined them a little bit now because we generally follow those rules, but we need to think about why we're following them when we do follow them and when we don't follow them. Okay. Questions from anybody? Alrighty, guys, our favorite topic, defensive signals, coming up this week. So I'll see you in class to cover that. All right.
Thank
And
you.
Sally,
Bye-bye.
following week,
Bye,
it's the
everybody.
following week that there's no Friday class.
That's right. The last week, we don't have a Friday class, but this
But
week we
you'll
do.
push
Wednesday and
tomorrow.
Friday. We've moved it to the next Friday. This week we're good. All righty.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Okay, thank you, Sally.
Bye.